so much going on, but there's one player dominating the agenda at the moment. It's Alexander Isak, of course. Liverpool having that bid rejected yesterday, around £110 million. Will they come back with another offer? Isak not with the Newcastle squad in South Korea at the moment. He's been training on his own at his old club Real Sociedad in Spain, but is due back at the club on Monday. Will we have movement by then? You know, the rest of the Newcastle team are out in Asia. He's been training at his old club in Spain, reported an injury, so couldn't go on the tour. How do you assess the way he's handling all this?
I think it's very hard, Jules, unless you're in his position. You know, I think it's very easy for the wider public and football fans to kind of criticise footballers. There's always the perception of there being an ideal way of leaving a football club, and it doesn't always pan out like that. And I think this is kind of a product of that. I think that he's probably not injured. As we know, it's probably a bit of a tactical one. I think my gauge on it is that I know 150 million is a lot of money, and I don't think it will quite get to that point. But I think Newcastle have set a bar of 150 million in the interim, knowing that they're not going to pay it, for them to try and source a couple of other decent strikers, and that's what it looks like is happening now.
Isak's leaving, but Isak's, no disrespect to Newcastle. Newcastle's a big football club. He's going to a better football club, in my eyes, that have better players in Liverpool. So it's a great move for him. You can understand why he wants to go to Liverpool.
Liverpool have already spent the best part of £300 million this summer. If they get Isak as well, Sky Bet, by the way, have him odds on to move before the deadline. Does he guarantee them another league title?
I thought before they got Isak, they were guaranteed another league title. I think the signings they've done have been very, very, very good. I think we saw the job Arne Slot done last season. It was a fantastic job. But I think getting Isak, yeah, that tips them. They're favourites anyway, but even more so, you might as well give them the trophy like that. That's my opinion. It might not be everyone's opinion. It's not going to be everyone's in the Premier League and the teams that are fighting for it. But I think Isak, he's the real deal, Jules. He's got all the ability. He's the complete centre forward. He can do everything. I think he's one of the best around in the world. That's a great finish. You give the ball away. He scores all kinds of different goals. His movement's good. This is a header that comes to him at the back post. Really good finish. And I like him. I think Liverpool would be outstanding. It'll improve Liverpool, and he's an outstanding player. But Newcastle will miss him if the deal goes ahead.
If you look in world football, is there a more complete number 9? And I think the way that Liverpool play as well, you know, we saw with Diaz having to drop in at times last year and being that link player as well, he can go in behind. I don't think they're quite going to get to 150, but clearly that's their starting point, and they can be really, really bullish with that figure.
I feel sorry for Newcastle because you're right, they had a great season. In particular, Eddie Howe, who's done a fantastic job there. I do think Newcastle's recruitment can be better. They've signed Alanga, who I think will be a good signing. And obviously, we're hearing rumours they're interested in Sesko, who's a very good striker.
A bid's gone in for him.
Well, let me tell you, he's a good striker. But do we know if he can come to the Premier League and hit the ground running? That's what we're going to need to have a look at. But we see some of his goals. He can finish. He's got good, as I say, he scores all kinds of goals, but it's a different league to the Premier League. The Premier League's the best league, but he'd be a good signing. And Jamie made a good point. Vissa is a very good signing, if they can get him. I'm not, Brentford fans, don't shout at the TV. I'm not trying to sell your best players. I know you've lost Mbuemo, but if a club like Newcastle come knocking, not being disrespectful to Brentford, and can offer him Champions League football, as a player, that's what you want to do, play Champions League football. So those two signings, if Newcastle can get it, I know if they lose Isak, they're not Isak kind of replacements, but they brought 2 in, and they've still made money on him, so it could be good business for them.
Yeah.
Darwin Núñez appears to be nearing a high-profile departure from Liverpool, with Saudi Arabian giants Al Hilal making a serious push to secure his signature. As of early August 2025, multiple sources report that Al Hilal have submitted a formal offer to Liverpool, and talks are well underway between the clubs and the players' camp. This latest development marks a significant shift from the situation earlier in the year, when Liverpool rejected a similar approach from Al Hilal during the January transfer window. At the time, the Reds were engaged in a Premier League title race and unwilling to lose a key attacking option mid-season. However, the club's stance has softened considerably in recent weeks, particularly as manager Arne Slot continues reshaping the squad with younger, more versatile attackers. Liverpool have made several strategic moves in the transfer market this summer, signing players such as Hugo Ekitike, Jeremy Frimpong, Milos Kerkez, and Florian Wirtz, indicating a readiness to part ways with some of their existing forwards. Núñez, who has struggled to consistently deliver since arriving from Benfica in 2022, now seems to be the most likely candidate to leave. Though he initially preferred to stay in Europe and reportedly eyed a move to Napoli, that transfer fell through due to disagreements over valuation and Napoli's shifting priorities. With fewer top European suitors remaining and Al Hilal offering a substantial financial package, including wages estimated at €400,000 per week, Núñez is now said to be seriously considering the Saudi option. The reported offer from Al Hilal falls within the £60 to £75 million range, which aligns with Liverpool's valuation. This would allow the club to reinvest in new targets, with Newcastle's Alexander Isak believed to be a top priority. Meanwhile, Núñez would become one of the marquee names in Saudi Arabia's ongoing push to bring elite European talent to the Pro League. Al Hilal, managed by Simone Inzaghi, view Núñez as a long-term attacking focal point and have made his signing a top objective following their failed pursuits of other strikers earlier in the window. Liverpool boss Arne Slot recently commented on Núñez's absence from a pre-season friendly, attributing it to a minor injury. However, many close to the club believe the omission was strategic, with the coaching staff anticipating a possible sale. Slot is reportedly comfortable with moving forward without Núñez, especially given the new signings and the system he aims to implement in the 2025-26 campaign. While nothing is finalized yet, momentum is clearly building toward Núñez becoming the latest high-profile player to make the switch from the Premier League to the Saudi Pro League. Liverpool have reportedly reached a behind-the-scenes agreement with Alexander Isak over personal terms, as the club intensifies its efforts to bring the Swedish striker to Anfield this summer. According to sources close to the negotiations, Isak has agreed in principle to a long-term deal running until 2031, with a salary package worth around €13 million per year, plus potential bonuses and extension options. While Liverpool have not yet submitted a formal bid in writing, this quiet breakthrough on the player's side signals clear intent. The delay in submitting an official offer is largely strategic, as the Merseyside club is waiting for Newcastle United to secure a replacement forward before opening the door for Isak's exit. Newcastle have so far maintained a strong stance, reportedly turning down Liverpool's initial verbal proposal, which was in the region of £110 to £120 million. The Magpies value Isak at closer to £150 million, and are reluctant to let him go unless they have a viable successor lined up. Behind the scenes, however, tensions are mounting. Isak is said to be increasingly frustrated with Newcastle's reluctance to progress contract renewal talks, and notably opted out of the club's recent pre-season tour of Asia. Instead, he returned to train with his former club, Real Sociedad, an unusual and telling move that has fueled speculation about an imminent transfer. Sources suggest Isak is eager for a move to a club competing consistently in the Champions League, and Liverpool, despite publicly stating they are satisfied with their current forward line, have made his signing a top priority following the departure of Luis Diaz to Bayern Munich. Newcastle, in the meantime, are working behind the scenes to identify and acquire a new striker before giving the green light to Isak's sale. The club has been linked with a number of potential replacements, including Benjamin Sesko from RB Leipzig, Ollie Watkins from Aston Villa, Nicholas Jackson from Chelsea, and Brentford's Jon Wissa. The search is said to be urgent, as Newcastle want to avoid being caught short in attack if and when Isak leaves. The recruitment process has become the final hurdle in Liverpool's pursuit, and insiders believe that once a deal is agreed for a new forward at St James Park, Isak will be allowed to make the move south to Anfield.